Good morning and vanakkam. In this video, we're going to be reading from Dancing with Shiva, Hinduism's contemporary catechism, written by Sadhguru Sivaya Subramaniya Swami, a richly illustrated sourcebook of Indian spirituality in question and answer form, exploring how to know the divine, honor all creation, and see God everywhere, in everyone. Today's lesson is lesson 18, and we'll begin by reading the caption to the facing image. Creation issues forth from Shiva as Satchidananda and returns to him. That cosmic manifestation is shown here as the life-giving waters of Ganga flowing from Shiva's hair, filling the well and the lotus pond with existence, consciousness, bliss. Lesson 18. What is God Shiva's pure consciousness? Shloka 18. Parashakti is pure consciousness, the substratum or primal substance flowing through all form. It is Shiva's inscrutable presence, the ultimate ground and being of all that exists, without which nothing could endure. Om. Bhashya. Parashakti, supreme energy, is called by many names: silence, love, being, power, and all-knowingness. It is Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss, that pristine force of being which is undifferentiated, totally aware of itself, without an object of its awareness. It radiates as divine light, energy, and knowing. Out of Parashiva ever comes Parashakti, the first manifestation of mind, superconsciousness, or infinite knowing. God Shiva knows in infinite, all-abiding, loving superconsciousness. Shiva knows from deep within all of his creations to their surface. His being is within every animate and inanimate form. Should God Shiva remove his all-pervasive Parashakti from any one or all of the three worlds, they would crumble, disintegrate, and fade away. Shiva's Shakti is the sustaining power and presence throughout the universe. This unbounded force has neither beginning nor end. Verily, it is the divine mind of Lord Shiva. The Vedas say, He is God, hidden in all beings, their inmost soul who is in all. He watches the works of creation, lives in all things, watches all things. He is pure consciousness beyond the three conditions of nature. Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning and vanakkam. In this video, we're going to be reading from Living with Shiva, Hinduism's contemporary culture, written by Sadhguru Sivaya Subramaniya Swami. 365 daily lessons based on ancient Vedic laws, disclosing how to approach family, money, relationships, technology, food, worship, yoga, and karma to live a truly spiritual life. Today's lesson is lesson 173, and the topic is support at crucial times. When the tensions of the burdens of life begin to build, if friends, relatives, and community begin to pull away rather than come forward to help, mom and dad are rendered helpless, absolutely helpless. Certain crises are predictable in the course of a marriage. When the first child is born, everything changes. This is the first crisis in their life. He lost his sweetheart and lover when she gave birth to her first child and became a mother. She lost her lover too when he became a father. Their roles first began to change during the time of her pregnancy. He had to watch very closely his thoughts toward other women while feeling neglect because she was thinking about their baby soon to be born more than she was thinking about him. He used to think only of him. Moving into another home is another crisis time. It's easy for dad because he is involved in new employment and new friends, but hard for mom because she has to adjust to the change of her entire environment. Is this a time for her to be emotionally upset? Yes, it is. At middle age, around 40, mom goes through menopause, another big crisis. Dad doesn't admit it, no man ever does, but he goes through a corresponding change at that time too. At that time, they both begin to think how it would have been if they had married somebody else. Dad, maybe especially, is ready for one last fling. They both have a desire to return to the surroundings of their youth. This is another intense crisis time. If dad reaches 40-ish first and mom later, then they experience two crisis times instead of one. When their daughter entered puberty, another crisis time occurred for the family. They didn't know what she was going to do next, and they often blamed themselves and each other for her erratic and sometimes erotic behavior. Another crisis time. Grandma, grandpa, great aunts and uncles, the neighbor next door, even the delivery man can help in times of crisis. The temple community, the church congregation, the priest, the minister, friends, Rotary Club members, executive at the office, if they don't help, are all negligent. We can blame them for the failure. Don't blame mom and dad. They are helpless. Do we blame somebody who is sick for being ill? Of course not. Do we blame a person who is emotionally distraught for being emotionally distraught? Of course not. We try to understand. We try to help. If the help is offered or is not offered, we blame those who do not help. Therefore, I tell troubled youth, for your own peace of mind, dear child, love your mother and your father. Keep them as one in your mind. Don't separate them in your mind. You yourself are the greatest marriage counselor. It is only you who at this juncture can become a binding force for the family. Rise above the accepted standards of the non-culture of today, which advise divorce to solve the problem. Remember, Don't take sides. Sutra 173 of the Nandinada Sutras, Rules for Political Activism. Shiva's devotees freely pursue the politics of their choice, but never subscribe to doctrines that advocate violent revolution or deny religion. My followers do not organize among themselves for political purposes. Om. Good morning and vanakkam. In this video, we'll be reading from Merging with Shiva, Hinduism's Contemporary Metaphysics, written by Sadguru Sivaya Subramania Swami. 365 Enlightenment Lessons from a Mystical Master, revealing the depths of Raja Yoga, the clear white light, the states of mind, and the ultimate spiritual destiny of every seeker. Today's lesson is Lesson 173, and the topic is Shrouding the Soul Body. If we were alone in a desert, there would not be much of the conscious mind present. Our emotions would subside. Our perceptions would be keen and uncluttered. Our senses would awaken. Our reality would be mostly an inner reality. We would have to call upon our inner resources to subsist. But as soon as a city grew up around us with hundreds of people in it, we would experience the development of a vast conscious mind, where everyone would contribute just a little bit to it. Problems, projects, confusions, and involvements of every kind would assert themselves, absorbing our awareness. Most of the inner resources we relied upon formerly would be forgotten as we ceased to depend upon our own strength and innate intelligence. We would begin depending upon a rule book. We would rely on what someone else thought, on what was taught in the universities, stored in the libraries, legislated by politicians, and promulgated by the news media. We would follow opinion religiously and develop an intellect, and one by one, all of these layers of the conscious mind would cover the soul, making the outer more evident than the inner. The beautiful, radiant body of the soul would be covered in the very same way that we would take a gorgeous lamp glowing with light and put pieces of fabric over it. First, we would put a yellow piece of fabric over it, an intellectual coating. Then we might argue about some intellectual concept. Others would say, "I don't believe you." And you say, "I know I'm right." Then we would put a pink piece of fabric over the lamp. Pink is the color of emotion and self-aggrandizement. Perhaps we would continue trying to help our friend, and he would say, "I don't want any help. Get out of here." We might become angry with him and put a red piece of fabric over the lamp. And when we are depressed amid all these mixed emotions, we cover the light with a black piece of fabric. When jealous of our fellow man, we drape a dark green piece of fabric over it. Where is the light body of the soul? That crystal clear light. It's there, temporarily covered. The body of the soul actually looks like a plastic body filled with light. You have seen mannequins with arms, legs, torso, and head made completely out of transparent neon-like plastic. If you were to put a light in such a mannequin, it would glow. This is what your soul body, your psyche, looks like. The conscious mind has truly become a reality for those who have layer upon layer covering this body of the soul. They are living with all of those emotions vibrating in them. Greed, hate, resentment, jealousy, and anger are all totally alive on the inside, yet plastered on the outside of it all are beautiful superficial emotions. And that's it for today's lesson. Take care of yourselves, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you in the next video. Om Namah Shivaya.